Baby's blood? That's what it says. Mix in baby's blood and use that to mark the pentagram. There were 6 of them, and Claudia looked from face to face, waiting for someone to say that this was a ridiculous idea. She could, she supposed, have said it herself, but it was not as if anybody would have listened. Nobody ever listens to the magician's beautiful assistant. In fairness, they didn't exactly rush to agree with the plan either. When Jerry spoke, he had the decency to sound embarrassed. Does it have to be a human baby? Jerry's role in their conjuring show was to do the tricks that appealed mainly to children. It brought in family audiences, but the other magicians secretly, or to be honest, not that secretly, despised him. Still, Claudia thought that 1 or 2 might have taken his side here, but Daniel didn't allow time for any of them to join Jerry in questioning his plan. It's true that it doesn't specify human. Daniel smiled. It was an unconvincing smile, and Claudia thought he did it mainly to show off his teeth. They were quite startlingly white, though marred, in her opinion, by rather overdeveloped canines. But human seems fairly clear from the context. Could we try it with something else first? Daniel's smile vanished. It was as if someone had flipped a switch. Where there had been a big, white smile, all you noticed now was a very square jaw and full but rather sulky lips. And if you raised your eyes to his, something about his irises that made you look away again very quickly. It's hardly as if the other ingredients were easily come by. We don't want to mess this up and have to do it again. They were quiet at that. Claudia had the impression that they were all thinking of different things. She reckoned they would say the worst was the virgin's tears. Despite all the tired old jokes, finding a virgin had been the easy bit. It was keeping her crying for long enough to collect a vial of tears that had been wearing on their nerves. After a pause long enough for all of them to remember details they would rather have forgotten, Daniel spoke again. Baby's blood, then. There was an uncomfortable nodding of heads. How much blood are we talking about? That was Tor, almost certainly not his real name, but there was something about the way he looked at you if you questioned him, which discouraged you from asking twice. He was an illusionist, constantly fretting about the mechanical details of his act. And what about clotting? Are we going to add an anti-clotting agent? Claudia remembered an illusion that involved an arm being cut off. Tor had been dissatisfied with the stage blood most magicians used, and had experimented with various concoctions of his own. Claudia had never inquired as to what they were, but one had clotted and spoiled the act, and Tor had been out of sorts for a week. The pentagram doesn't have to be very big. Daniel's smile was back, a little tense, it seemed to Claudia, as if he was realizing they might need more reassurance than he could offer. Think of what a child would use finger painting. Everybody tried to imagine this, but they were clearly struggling. Claudia doubted if they had ever supervised a child finger painting in their lives. Reluctantly, she contributed an answer. 2 or 3 teaspoonfuls should be enough. There was enthusiastic nodding. This was a question that involved children, and something close to a recipe. This was an area where a magician's beautiful assistant could legitimately offer an opinion. And, they all realized, a very helpful opinion. 2 or 3 tablespoons wasn't that much. It wasn't as if they were going to have to kill anyone. Right, said Daniel. That's agreed then.